News Center Maine is partnering with the-maine-monitor to bring you some of the reporting that's being done by journalists at the nonprofit independent publication. And every Monday, we'll bring you one of the stories they're looking into. So today, we are talking about Maine's child welfare program. It's part of the state government that's faced heavy scrutiny over the past few years. Most of the department's work happens behind closed doors and is not available to the public. Today, though, Josh Keefe with the Maine-Monitor joins us to examine one of those cases that you've taken a closer look. Josh, thanks for being with us. Let's start with a breakdown of the case that you took a close look at.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Took a look at a case. It's from Aroostook County. It's basically a mother brings her child to a supermarket. And she is accused of striking that child in the parking lot. She says she was spanking him with an open hand for running near traffic. A witness, the only witness, saw her in her side view mirror. Said she saw her punching the child in the lower back. So police are called. She is charged with felony level domestic violence, aggravated assault. She's looking at 10 years in prison, potentially, at the beginning of this case. And her child is taken away by DHHS. Mm-hmm. And so what happens over the course of nearly a year is DHHS drops the case against her. She takes the criminal charges to trial. She wins. The jury finds her not guilty. And yet she never really has her child returned to her for a bunch of complicated reasons that I get into in this, frankly, very long piece about a pretty complicated and interesting case.
I imagine there are a tremendous number of layers to this to get through. Why, of all the cases that we only talk about a fraction of them, of course, in the news, but of all the cases that are being looked at, why did you choose this one? Why was this a standout?
Well, I think what happens with child welfare in Maine is, there are thousands and thousands of cases every year. And we only really talk about cases when something goes horribly wrong, when there's a tragic death of a child, like there just was in Lewiston, unfortunately. And when that happens, of course, everyone wants answers about, did DHHS know about this family? Should they have done more? Why didn't they step in earlier? And those are all valid questions. Of course, we should be asking. But those kind of cases really represent a tiny, tiny fraction of this child protective system. And we only see those cases because they enter the criminal justice system, which is public. But the child protective system is not. It's closed, it's opaque. So really the sort of day-to-day work of that system is hidden from us, from the media, as you know. So in this case, first of all, the reason I'm telling it, and I can tell it, is because the mother wanted it told. And she shared all her records with me.
This is coming directly from her.
Yeah. So, including stuff that, didn't make her look great. She was very transparent. But what this case shows, first of all, there's also another layer, which is that the mother lived off the grid in a tiny house in the woods and property she owned that led to accusations of child neglect on top of the abuse. And what this case shows when you really dig down to it is all these incredibly tricky things. The incredible difficulty that caseworkers have of making calls without full information, the incredible difficulty parents can have trying to get their kids back, the very blurry line sometimes between unconventional parenting and child abuse and neglect. Some of these things are kind of in the eye of the beholder, including in this case, there's footage of the incident in the parking lot, and it's kind of unclear. It's,
even
different people see it different ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I think the main thing is I wanted to focus on a case in that really could allow us and the media and also the members of the public to really get deep into how this system works and understand it, because it's an incredibly powerful system. Has a lot of power over a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
um, and it's kind of hidden from public accountability in a lot of ways. So I wanted to try to get inside the system through one particular
And
case.
this is certainly a helpful window into that world. And just finally, you work a lot on accountability and certainly with Maine's child welfare system. How does this tie into kind of the broader work that you do?
Yeah. So recently there was federal data that was released, um, and what it showed is that Maine takes removes children from their families because of allegations of abuse or neglect at one of the highest rates in the nation. And actually, between 2019 and 2023, that 5 year period, and that's 2023 is what the most recent federal data we have. So in that 5 year period, Maine's foster care population increased at the highest rate in the country. The rest of the country, the national average has gone down in those years. There are fewer kids in foster care. Maine's went up. Is one of the few states that actually increased during that period. So we have a couple things happening, right? We have Maine's kind of an outlier in the rest of the states in terms of how many kids they're removing, the rate at which they're removing. And yet, like you said, DHHS is constantly criticized for not doing enough to remove kids. So it's kind of hard to understand what's happening if both those things
Mm.
are true,
Right.
you know?
At the same time.
So I think the only way we can try to understand that is to try to look at some of these cases. I will say too, Maine, you're not allowed to, all states, the records of these cases are closed. But in a lot of states, you can go into the courtroom and witness the hearings, see the trial, so to speak. You can in Maine. So it's
Mm.
particularly closed off, even for an already closed off system. And I think, as a reporter, I want to try to get inside of that and understand what's going on.
This is certainly a helpful look into that world. Josh, appreciate the work you're doing and your time to have this conversation. If you would like to see more of the data and the reporting that Josh is doing, the whole team's doing, you can do that right now at the-maine-monitor.org.